Hey, I'm Jay, and you're listening to Mindset Monday, a new series on the More Than podcast created to be the perfect dose of inspiration and motivation while giving you tangible tools to shift your mindset in a more positive direction. After all, your life is only as good as your mindset. I'm so glad you're here. What's up, fam? I'm so hyped about this week's episode because this is a topic I'm so passionate about because it absolutely changed my life, and I believe it has the potential to change your life as well. You're going to have so many aha moments throughout this episode. You may need to listen to it a few times because I'm about to hit you with a whole bunch of information. Class is in session because today we are talking about the difference between confidence and self-esteem. Now, I know you're probably thinking, wait, what? There's a difference? And you're not alone in thinking that way. The majority of people go through their entire lives without realizing there's a difference. Yes, they are connected and they influence each other, but they have to be fostered individually. So I'm going to give you tools on how you can foster both self-confidence and self-esteem to ultimately lead to more joy and fulfillment and a happier, healthier life. That's what you all want tuning into this episode. That's what I want for myself. So to break this down as simple as I can, confidence is tied to external things, whereas your self-esteem, self-worth is tied to internal things. Now, when I say self-esteem, self-worth, and self-love are often used synonymously. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to refer to it as self-worth. So our self-worth is based on internal things, whereas confidence is based on external things. Our confidence is impacted based on our environment, our circumstances, our mood, our achievements, or lack thereof, our external validation, whereas self-worth is this deep inherent knowing that you alone, as you are right now, are worthy, that you are valuable, and that you are deserving of good things. There's not many times throughout our life where our confidence and our self-worth are balanced, that we're investing in both of them. Instead, we've been so ingrained to just chase confidence. We've been told that if we do something, then we will be more confident. If we change our appearance, then we'll be more confident. If we buy this, then we'll be more confident. Whatever this if then is, we're selling you this idea of confidence as if once you become confident, all of your problems are suddenly going to go away. When you're just chasing after confidence your whole life, you're not putting any focus on the internal self-worth that so desperately needs to develop in order for you to actually feel fulfilled once you become confident. So I'm going to illustrate this for you guys. I want you to picture a teeter-totter. Remember those on the playground that we used to go to? So on one side of the teeter-totter, I want you to think of confidence. And on the other side, I want you to think of self-esteem, self-worth. Very rarely are those two things balanced out. Often one side is higher than the other, and then it will flip-flop back and forth. So for the sake of this analogy, let's picture your confidence is high and your self-worth is low. A lot of us function this way because, like I said, confidence is often tied to external things. So when we're achieving things, when we're getting outside validation, our confidence will go up. But once you achieve those things, you might find that it feels more empty than what you thought it would feel like. And that makes you chase more and more and more without ever truly feeling that joy and fulfillment that you're longing for. Whereas if you flip that teeter-totter and you have self-worth up and confidence down, you might know that you are worthy and deserving of good things, but without confidence, you don't necessarily have the drive to go out and push yourself to achieve those things. So once those are in perfect balance with each other, that's when we're living these big, full, joy-filled lives. But I'll be honest, there's very few seasons where those two are going to be in sync, and it takes a lot of intentionality to sync those two up. Confidence can shift based on our environment, whereas self-worth remains steady despite our environment. I brought up if then just a couple minutes ago, and I want to explain this theory to you that I've come up with, and it's called the if then theory. We've all done it. If I change my appearance, then I'll be confident. If I make more money, then I'll be successful. If I'm in a relationship, then I'll be happy. This if-then theory causes so many of us to just be chasing this idea of happiness and fulfillment our entire life without actually enjoying living. Once you achieve those things, especially if you are a high achiever, you will make more money, but you might not feel successful. You will be in a relationship, but you might not really be happy. And it's not necessarily because of that other person. It starts and it ends with you. It's the internal work. See, the most valuable lesson that you will ever learn is that you take you with you wherever you go. If you continue chasing external things in hopes it's going to bring you joy, peace, fulfillment, love, things that we all want, you're never actually going to achieve those things if you're missing the component of self-worth, self-esteem, and being at peace with yourself. Self-worth directly impacts our confidence, whereas confidence without self-worth is pretty detrimental. So as I just explained this if-then theory, I want to show you the first time I saw this illustrated so clearly in my life, and it's a situation that I think back to often. So growing up, I was painfully insecure. And if I'm being honest, I've gone through chapters of insecurity many times since then. But as a kid, I kept thinking that if I was smaller, then I would be confident. I was always the tallest girl. I was bigger boned. I was bigger than all of the boys. I was bigger than my friends on the cheerleading team. And I just so desperately wanted to shrink myself in order to feel confident, in order to feel happy with myself. So fast forward to I'm 19 years old and I go through this health crisis. This health crisis causes me to start losing weight. And ultimately, I find myself at this gym working with a trainer that it was pure intentions in the beginning. I was just trying to get my health back, but I was surrounded by all these fitness competitors that at the time were like the ideal version of the most confident people out there. I mean, they're able to put on a bikini and go strut their stuff on stage and feel confident. So that's what I strive to achieve. And within 3 months of torturing my body, I lost 60 pounds. I always had this belief that if I was smaller, I'd be more valuable. And often our beliefs, when they're reinforced, they become that much stronger. So all of a sudden, when I went through this dramatic weight loss, I started getting a lot of external validation. I finally got signed by a modeling contract that I'd been trying to do for years. I won the title of Miss Arizona USA. I was getting so much external validation that really fueled this belief that since I am smaller, I am more valuable. Now I'm getting ready in the mirror one day and I look down, my clothes are basically falling off of me. I hardly recognize myself. And I remember saying out loud, I thought this would feel better. All my problems were still there. My insecurities were still there just because they had shifted to develop new insecurities. I didn't feel better about myself. I didn't feel like since I was confident that I had finally arrived to this place of fulfillment and joy, like I always thought I would. I'm 19 years old. I don't have the tools or the skills to understand what's going on or to actually get interested in how I can bring up those levels of fulfillment and let my self-worth catch up to my confidence. I didn't know. So I just kept chasing confidence. And I was so scared that if my body changed, my confidence would go away and I would lose everything. So what did I do? I self-sabotaged. After I abused my body for 3 months, my body retaliated and I had metabolic damage. I started to gain some of the weight back. And because of that, I completely sabotaged myself and started removing myself from situations, from opportunities, from putting myself out there, which in return made it so that I lost modeling jobs, made it so that I wasn't getting as many public speaking gigs, made it so I wasn't seeing my friends as much. And in my mind, I'm saying, I'm just not enough. I'm not enough anymore because I lost my external appearance when everybody was praising me. This caused me to go into a really deep state of unworthiness. I was feeling feelings of depression and anxiety. And for a couple years in my early 20s, I chased confidence. I don't discredit any part of my 19-year-old chapter winning Miss Arizona USA, those modeling contracts, the things I did, it was so awesome. And I did have so much confidence, but I feel like confidence without self-worth attached to it is false confidence. So I was chasing the feeling of confidence, and the only way I knew how to achieve that was if I changed my body, if I tried to mold myself and made myself smaller. And I was working with a trainer at the time who introduced me to the concept of self-worth for the first time and was so much more focused about helping me increase my belief that I was worthy as I was, that I was enough as I was. At the time, I was brushing him off because all I wanted was for the external to change, but he kept hounding me about the internal. When you start doing some of that internal work, it's reflected on the outside. But the outside work without the internal work stays on the outside. A lot of successful people that are really confident, it can look like success from the outside looking in, but if you don't have a high sense of self-worth, you can feel like a failure. And I've experienced this firsthand. And so I started doing a lot of that internal work. And what I mean when I say that is trying to get to a place where I was actually at peace with myself. I started working on affirmations. I started journaling. I started treating myself with kindness and compassion. I got myself into therapy. And then when I was in therapy is when this concept was explained to me so clearly that I was so focused on external things to try and chase my confidence, to get my confidence back. But what I needed to do that entire time was worry more about my self-worth and how I can increase that, how I can take care of myself, how I can come to peace with myself, come to terms with myself. That's a lot of work. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say that that was easy. It took a lot of time in therapy. I really had to get particular about my routines, my habits, the way that I was talking to myself. That's why I'm so passionate about mindset, because your thoughts carry so much power. And if you have an internal belief system that I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, your thoughts are going to run rampant and prove to you all the ways in which you aren't worthy and that you aren't enough. The feeling of not feeling worthy and ultimately feeling like that makes it so we're not deserving of love is as universal of a fear as fear is. We talked about fear in the last episode and how as human beings, we want to avoid pain at all costs. And a lot of the time fear is associated with pain. Well, you know what's really painful is not feeling like you're enough. And you can do so many different things to mask it, to try and make yourself feel like enough. But anything that you're doing externally while ignoring the internal things that desperately needs your attention is not going to lead to that true fulfillment. So like I said in the beginning, you want to have that teeter-totter, right? You want to start working on your self-worth. And when you do that, inevitably, your confidence is going to increase. So what I found as I was doing some of this deep internal work, suddenly my physical body started changing. I wasn't holding on to so much stress, so much anxiety, which often can play out in a lot of crazy ways. You'll retain a lot more weight, a lot more water. You carry yourself differently when you're holding on to so much stress, so much anxiety, so much distaste for who you are as a person. So once I started to heal the relationship that I had with myself, and once I finally understood that as I am, as Jordan, at the time, Jordan Alyssa Wessel, as I am enough. I am worthy. I am deserving of good things. It's not attached to what I do on the outside. It's not attached to my achievements. It's not attached to my talents. It's not attached to the likes on social media. It's not attached to my following. When you focus on your self-worth and that increases, your confidence inevitably increases. I can carry myself with so much more confidence because I know deep down that I am worthy, that I am enough, and that I am good enough exactly as I am. The external stuff is just a bonus. Now, when I achieve those things, those external things, it feels so much sweeter because it's not empty anymore. I will always be on this confidence journey. I truly believe that confidence is a journey. It's not a destination. You don't just achieve it and one day everything in life just gets so much better because you're like, aha, I've made it. I am confident. That's not realistic. That doesn't happen. But I will say that when you have a strong self-worth, you're really resilient. You're more likely to go after things that you want to. You're more likely to put yourself in rooms, in positions, to network, to meet people, to put yourself out there, to create lives and situations that you love. You'll actually go after things because you know that the worst thing that can happen is it doesn't come true. And that's not a reflection on you, on your worthiness. You know, I was preparing for this today. I was thinking about something that I hear people say all the time, where it's like, money doesn't buy happiness. And I feel like only really wealthy people ever say that. And if you're like me, you're like, okay, well, maybe just like give it to me and I'll try. Like, I'm pretty sure it could solve a lot of problems and I'd be awfully happy. But when I was thinking about that in how it relates to confidence and self-worth, that yes, on the outside, they could be super successful, have all the money, have all of the achievements, but they're chasing that and neglecting themselves. They're neglecting their self-worth. Your self-worth is reflected in your relationships that you have with other people. So if you're not maintaining and fostering meaningful relationships in your life, those will diminish and ultimately go away. So no wonder there's so many very uber successful people that have achieved all these things. But the things that truly make life worth living, the relationship you have with yourself, the relationship you have with other people, if that's not there, then it feels really empty. I hope that we can achieve financial abundance and abundance in every way, but that shouldn't be the goal. The external things aren't the goal. It needs to be fueled by the internal drive. Needs to be fueled by the fact that you as a person are enough, you are worthy, and you are deserving of good things. When your self-worth is low, it's going to be reflected in every single circumstance and situation. It's going to be reflected in your relationships because you can't give to somebody else what you yourself have not experienced. So if you don't know that you are deserving of good things, that you are valuable, that you are worthy, that you deserve love, you're going to settle for people that don't show that to you. And you're going to think it's okay. Whereas if you have a really deep knowing, you are worthy, you are enough, you are deserving of good things, you're not going to tolerate relationships or people that don't rise to meet you to the level that you know you deserve. Investing in that self-worth also plays out in our careers, in our achievements. Let's say right now, maybe you're working a job that you know that there's upward mobility and you want that promotion. Well, you might not put yourself out there and put yourself in the situation to achieve that because you're second guessing yourself on the inside. This is where a lot of imposter syndrome comes in too, because let's say you do achieve it. You do get the promotion. You do launch a business that's super successful. You do have all of this external validation and you've achieved these great, amazing things. And you might be feeling imposter syndrome. That's because deep down, you don't believe that you are worthy of it, that you are deserving of it. So anytime you are feeling imposter syndrome, it's a pretty clear indication that you got to do some self-worth work. A lot of that for me comes into therapy, like I've said, comes into your routines, how you're showing up for yourself, how you're prioritizing yourself and your self-care every day. It comes down to something as simple as how are you talking to yourself when you get ready in the morning? When you look at yourself in the mirror, are you being kind to yourself? Are you tearing yourself apart? The internal work will always be reflected externally. So start doing some of that internal work. Confidence is sold to us in a whole bunch of different packages through a whole bunch of belief systems, marketing schemes. We see it at play every single day. That's why the diet industry has done as well as it has, because it's selling you that if you do this, then you will lose weight and then you will become confident. If you change X, Y, and Z about your appearance, then you will be beautiful and then you will be confident and then in return you will be happy. That's why when you're scrolling on social media and you're seeing stuff that influencers are saying that you should buy, you're buying it because you're hoping it's going to bring you that feeling of happiness, of confidence, of fulfillment, and you're disappointed when it doesn't. Once you start doing some of this work, and now that you're aware of it, you're going to see it at play in so many different ways in your life. This is one of the main reasons why I decided to create and launch my confidence course, The Fundamentals of Confidence. And I call it a confidence course because confidence is something that has been sold to us in every single way. It's something that every single one of us want to achieve. But it's only truly achieved once you do that internal work. Once the women start going through that confidence course, they realize that it's less about confidence and it's more about your self-worth. Once we can build that up, once we can gain tools to help with your mindset, to help with the relationship that you have with yourself, to start implementing affirmations, your morning routines, your habits, all these things to build a foundation of peace within yourself, confidence inevitably follows every single time. So if that's something that you need help working on, The Fundamentals of Confidence is here for you. It is a step-by-step guide that will not only help you gain confidence, but it will also help you address and do some of the work on your self-worth. Most people don't even know that there's a difference. They go their entire lives without understanding that there's a difference. And now that you know, you're one of the few that knows that there is that difference, start fostering them individually. It's okay to be very confident. It's a great thing to be very confident. But I promise you that confidence, when it's in sync with your self-worth, makes everything so much sweeter. That is how you're going to live a big and fulfilled and happy life. You deserve it. I deserve it. And I hope that this episode was eye-opening for you and is now something that you can take into your week and really be aware of, be conscious of, so that you can start changing not only your self-worth, but also your confidence to ultimately have a happier and more fulfilled life. Now, if this episode resonated with you, please send it to somebody that you love. They need to hear it too. Share it on social media. I absolutely love connecting with you guys and hearing your stories and hearing how these Mindset Monday episodes are really shifting your mindset. It makes me so happy. If you haven't already, make sure that you are following the More Than Show on both Spotify and Apple and rate and review. That is such an easy way to help us grow and continue bringing you amazing free content every single week. I love you guys. I hope that this hit home, and I will see you next Monday.